Good now. For those joining for the first time, welcome. For those of you returning, welcome back. As always, I am thrilled, honored, and grateful that you have chosen to spend your precious time in this very sacred self care moment with me, and you've allowed me to spend mine with you. It is Inauguration Day, right? I think. So, let's see. Okay, for those joining for the first time, I finally made it back to my regular meditation space here in the house. I can sit up without back support. So that's good. Celebrating that. Um, oh, so for those joining for the first time, I like to read a card right before I hop into meditation. We are making our way through the Life Loves You card deck, 52 card deck by Louise Hay. And you can, I'm early. I don't know how I did that. My bad. Well, you know what? I'll use this time to share some other tips that for meditation. So last week, Kismet reminded me, it's like, did you ever share that tip you were thinking of? And the one that came to mind at that moment was when you're breathing and inhaling, focus on the different sensations that you feel as the breath enters through your nose, as well as exiting out your nose. If you're breathing in your nose, out your nose, the breath is cooler going in than out, so you may notice more of the in breath than the exhale. And another tip, just that's to help if your mind is like going all over the place. That's a place that you can bring your mind back a focus on. And the more that you do that, the less that your mind will hop all over the place. Another tip is whenever you do come back to, I need some water. Whenever you do come back to your breath, or when you notice that you're not focused on your breath or your mantra, when you're not focused on your breath or your mantra, and you're deciding that you're choosing to come back to your breath or your mantra before you hop back into that, like celebrate the awareness of it. Because doing that, it's kind of training your mind that this is what you want. So you're celebrating the fact that you are aware and coming back to your breath. It's like, in my mind, I'll give myself a welcome back and a high five when I discover that, oh, my mind started to wander. I just give myself a high five in my mind, and then I settle back into my mantra and breath. So that's another tip to train your mind to be focused on the object of meditation, which, if you're practicing TM, it'll be your personal mantra. Other forms of meditation is usually your breath. So that is another tip that comes to mind. I see that someone has joined me. I started early by accident. So I just decided to take this time to share some tips to help with meditation, because I know that, hi Nick, good now. I haven't really started. I kind of came on early by accident. So I just was giving tips for meditation before we actually hop into the meditation, so that, those of you who are normally here at at 5:30. You're not like, what happened? So, um, the other tip that comes to mind is just the more you bring yourself back and the more you celebrate the awareness that you drifted off, the less that will have to happen. It's like a positive reinforcement for coming back to your breath. And I just started calling, thank you. I started calling it the breath. I'm like, I'm going back to the breath, the meditation center. Um, so, welcome to the breath meditation center. Anytime you feel yourself drift away, come back to the breath. So, okay, it is officially time to start. For those joining for the first time, I'm going to re-say this part. For those of you joining for the first time, welcome. For those of you returning, welcome back. As always, I am thrilled, honored, and grateful that you have chosen to spend your precious time in this very sacred self-care moment with me, and you've chosen to let me spend mine with you. Good now, Kismet. Good to see you, love. Um, and for those joining for the first time, I had a whole. If you go and watch the replay, Kismet, I started this 5 minutes early, and I was like, huh, because the button has said go live. Good now, Kenneth. Good to see you. The the button said go live. I'm like, is it already 5:30? And then I hit live, and it was only 5:25. So I just started sharing some meditation tips, and actually the one that I meant to share the other week came to mind. So if you go back a little after this, then you'll see the couple of meditation tips that came to mind in the last 5 minutes. That said, for those joining for the first time, I like to read a card before we hop into meditation. We are making our way through the Life Loves You card deck, 52 card deck. You can use the card as a prompt for your meditation. You can use the card as a prompt for journaling. You can ignore the card. Whatever works for you works for me. So let's see what today's card will be. Happy Monday to all. I nourish myself is what popped out. The time is now. Oh, thank you. I'll go back to watch. Awesome. Yes, the time is absolutely now. There is no other time. So for those joining for the first time, I always say good now. I greet you with good now because the time is now, right? So we don't have any control over a moment ago. We don't have any over control over the next moment. In the moment, the energy you spend right now is informing the next few moments. That's the only control you have over the next moment is this now moment. So thank you, Kismet. I nourish myself. Decide that today you will eat only food that loves you. You know better than anyone what is best for you. Decide today you will eat only food that loves you. You know better than anyone else what is best for you. A caveat to that is paying attention to the emotional state you're in when you choose the food that loves you, because that can alter the food that feels like it loves you. And it's actually, I also love the mindfulness aspect of that. Uh, when I'm working with clients on the nutrition aspect of things, that is one of the biggest things that I teach is noticing how you feel after you eat. Right, actually, right before you eat something, the emotions that are there, and then 30 minutes after eat, hour after eat, 24 hours after eat, just notice the sensations that you experience. Do you get sleepy? Do you get achy? Do you get bloated? Um, those tend to be indications that at this time in your life, those foods do not love you. It could just be something that needs to be cleansed out, like doing a cleanse or even energy clearing. But at that time, that is food that is giving you an indication that does not love you at this moment. That's what comes to mind. Um, Kismet, Neek, Kenneth, anything that comes to mind for you regarding that card, feel free to share in the chat. I'll be happy to read it aloud for anyone that is on Facebook or LinkedIn. So let's get meditating. Get the banner going so people know what's going on if they pop in after I'm sitting here with my eyes closed. Okay, for those joining for the first time, I practice transcendental meditation. You can find out more about that in the description. However, I am here to support you in whatever form of meditation you practice because I just want you to keep meditating because it's so good for you on so many levels, physiologically, physically, emotionally, mentally. Meditation is such a treat and is such a profound way of taking care of yourself. And the best way I can support you if you're not able to be here with me live, pardon me, so I'm drinking that water, is if you respond to the video in some way after you've had the opportunity to meditate with me. I will, when I see it, I will reply and let you know that I see you and I celebrate you. And I do want to celebrate some regular folks who show up real quick because that is no small feat. Meditation is not the most easiest form of self-care because you're just sitting and it feels like you're not doing anything. And if you're in the US, just sitting still is just, it's already a challenge. So there's that. So I'm celebrating you, Kismet, Neek, and Larry. And oh, for those on Facebook, I just realized the other day that these have not been airing to my Facebook page. So I apologize. My Facebook regulars have been Angel and Trey and Teresa. So hopefully you guys are able to see this. And LinkedIn, I am just now um, airing again to you. So thank you for showing up for yourself because in so doing, you're showing up for the world. And I so appreciate that. I don't take that lightly. So thank you. Um, you're welcome, love. Just wanted to say, oh, oh, word. Okay. Kenneth shares, for those not on YouTube, yes, I need to head towards less red meat and more veggies. I do feel better that way, but eating lots of meat for 59 years is a hard habit to break. Word. You're welcome, Nate. Kenneth, feel free to reach out to me. I've got some tips and tricks and stuff on how to shift that. I would love to share. But definitely, just breaking habits in general, right? One of the things you can do is, first of all, I love the fact that you noticed that you feel better when you eat more veggies. That right there is something to help remind you. I can't help it. I can't not share it. Remembering that before you choose what you eat can also help. Um, and one thing that I do, I don't really eat meat much, but if I do, it's only if I go out to eat. I don't buy it and keep it in the house and have to cook it. So because I don't eat out a whole lot, I don't eat a lot of meat. Kismet shares, I'm always amazed at people who will eat things that make them sick. Eating intuitively helped me greatly. Kismet, I need to bring you to my YouTube. Oh, I forgot to celebrate Pamela. She has not been able to. I got two Pams that come actually. One is on the East Coast, one's on the West Coast. So I want to celebrate you two ladies as well, because I know you show up. You usually show up live, but there are times you've been showing up after the fact. Okay. Um, I love the intuitive eating and would love for you to share more about that. So just reach out to me. We might should have a conversation. And Kenneth, feel free to reach out too. I'm like, let's all get on YouTube, my podcast, and just talk food, talk transitioning to eating better and what makes you feel better. Kismet, I can tell you, I can share a whole lot of reasons as to why people will eat things that make them sick from an energetic perspective. Uh, but let's not turn this into a masterclass. I will do that. Anybody who's been hanging out with me, if you get on a topic that I studied and study, I could talk your ears off. So, hopping into meditation, just thank you to those who show up regularly. I'm celebrating you. Thank you for those who chime in after the live. I'm celebrating you. And yeah, all that said, this is a silent meditation. Of course, I'm gonna go on mute in case there's any background noise. You can choose to meditate silently, or if you need to put on music or whatever works best for you to get through the 20 minutes effectively and efficiently and yummily. So that said, happy meditation. I will see you on the other side. It's been 20 minutes. Go ahead and keep your eyes closed for at least 2 minutes to allow yourself to gently and slowly transition from the deep meditative state back to the land of activity. And as we're bringing ourselves back, I just want to say, Corey, my bad. Corey is one of my OG folks who has been hanging out with me on YouTube since I started doing these lives. And she's the one that came up with the idea to do the meditation for world peace on Wednesday evenings. So shout out to Corey, who has been consistent as well. Just gently wake up your body. You can wiggle your toes, shimmy your shoulders, and of course my favorite, rotate your neck. But inviting you to do whatever feels yummy for you to gently bring you back. Anything that's within your capability at this present moment. Because if you move too suddenly after meditation, it can make you dizzy or nauseous. I've experienced both and give you a headache. So those are some other tips to take away. With all that said, put a big smile on your face. Take as deep a breath in as you can, choosing to nourish yourself extra much today. And exhale, gratitude for the ability to do so. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. The TM app's statement today is know thyself. And I like how Kenneth knows thyself. He says he knows what works for him, what works best for him. Kismet knows thyself with intuitive eating. So, all that said, if you would like to connect with me further, I'm at nterraflow on all platforms. In the link, in the description, you can see I have guided meditations as well on Insight Timer. I just submitted another one for approval, so hopefully that will get approved soon. But with all that said, may you create the most amazing now moments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this now moment. May you create the most amazing now moments until I see you next time.